Money worries me. I know it goes in and then most of it has to go out again to pay bills. And I know that my mum works long hours to earn her money.
All of a sudden the bills have gone up, so we're paying double for our house and our shop.
This winter's been really hard because it's very cold and we've not been able to put the heating on because of costs.
The other day, it was probably one of the coldest days. It was unbearable.
In every part of the UK, there are children living in poverty as the cost of almost everything has increased. Many families have been finding it difficult to cope. Children are living in cold houses as their parents struggle to pay the energy bills, and some no longer have enough money to buy food and clothes.
Oh, this one looks warm.
This is the story of just 4 children. Like many others right across the UK, they've made tough choices this year. They've experienced one of the hardest winters of their lives.
It has got to times where we've had to last on only £2 a week, and that was very hard for me.
A joint investigation by the Evening Standard and The Independent has revealed an escalating hunger crisis among children in poverty who are not eligible for free school meals. As many as 800,000 children in England fit into this category. Head teachers and youth workers report that it's leading to desperate behaviour, with pupils stealing food to eat as the cost of living crisis bites. Youth worker Jack Price, who works in 3 South London schools, describes what he sees on a daily basis.
I don't think people realise that a lot of these young people will actually just go hungry. A lot of these young people will just stay silent because they understand the hardships of their parents or their family or their guardians. They know that times are tough, and they're not trying to put the burden on their parents and saying, well, Mum, I ain't really got breakfast, I haven't eaten at break or lunch. A playground is meant to be a place where kids are having fun, and now that fun, you can see, is washed down with kids who are hungry. You're seeing kids share food. Kids are robbing, kids are stealing from supermarkets because they're hungry. No kid wants to do the bad thing. No kid wants to steal, but they're taking food because they're hungry. The amount of people who are going through these struggles is growing.
Food charities say the number of school food banks they supply in London has doubled in 3 years. Every Wednesday at St Mary's Primary School in Battersea, parents queue for the food bank. What's surprising is that most have jobs. They don't earn enough to pull out of poverty, but they get more than £7,400 a year, and it means, crucially, their children are no longer eligible for free school meals.
I've been a bus driver, I've driven lorries.
Paul is 57 and lives in Weston-super-Mare. This morning he went to the local food bank in desperation.
Today I picked up these cans.
So you've got what, baked beans?
Baked beans.
Soup. Tomato soup.
Chopped tomatoes are back there as well.
He's had no money for days, and what little food he's had to ration to 1 meal a day.
Have you been hungry,
I've
Paul?
been starving. I've been really hungry the last 3 days.
So what did you eat yesterday?
I had fish fingers and beans.
What else did you have?
That's it. That's all I had, was fish fingers and beans for me evening meal.
What about lunch?
No. I just fill up on tea.
He lives alone, and in this, the flat's only other room, keeps the lights off as much as possible. Vehicle repair diplomas adorn mostly bare walls from a career ended prematurely by ill health.
I think I just get scared of going out and seeing other people living their lives. You know, I kind of walk past a pub and everybody's sat outside at lunchtime having a drink. I don't drink, but it's the fact that how can you afford that? That was for September.
Paul receives £843 a month on universal credit. He's due to get more on health grounds, but right now he's reeling from a recent hike in rent, now costing £620 a month, leaving him, after paying bills and insurance, with
on average £30 for the month. That's for food, washing, because I have to use a laundrette to do my washing. And that's expensive. No.
So £30.
Yeah, I have started washing in the sink.
The amount you've got in your bank account currently?
11 pence. And that's it.
Sometimes you don't want to come home because you can't put your heating on.
I work 5 days a week and I still have to use a community shop.
Millions of people in the UK are in paid employment, but still struggling to make ends meet.
It doesn't make sense that we have to go through all this.
We are penny pinching, we're counting the pennies every day.
Politicians repeatedly tell voters the best way out of hardship is to get a job. But for a growing number of people, it's just not enough. People like Melanie.
When it's a choice between you getting some new shoes and your daughter getting some new shoes, you buy yourself some super glue to glue your shoes together, and I do. And it shouldn't have to be like that. It really shouldn't. No. You don't have to look like you've got nothing to have nothing.
Where Melanie lives in Yorkshire, almost 1 in 4 people live in poverty. In the northeast, the situation is even worse. And living in poverty almost always means struggling to put food on the table. As food bank use reaches record highs, community shops like this one in South Tyneside are popping up all over the country to fill the gap between rising costs and stagnant wages.
So I'll be getting some eggs, some bananas and potatoes. My little boy loves eggs, so it's worth it if you get that. You're allowed to come here once a week. It costs £4. I only work part-time, however, I'm above the threshold for getting any kind of help from sort of the government. I can't be referred to a food bank. So even though I'm struggling, I'm a single parent, I can't get any help from anywhere. So this is a good way to do it.
Nobody wants to queue for a food bank at any stage of their lives. But imagine, like Brenda, having to do it at the age of 78 with the ability to earn long gone. Or 68-year-old Michael, who's worked all his life on the London Underground and says he has £25 a week in spare cash.
Do you imagine that life would be like this?
No, not at all. I thought I was going to live comfortably. What I have to do is boil water every time I want to shave or have a proper wash.
The food bank can trigger a range of emotions.
Are you struggling? Too much.
1 in 5 pensioners are in poverty, and after 2 years and counting of a pandemic which picks off the most frail amongst the elderly, the cost of living adds to their loneliness and anxiety.
I think it goes back to their experiences often of being brought up in wartime and the experience of there not being enough to go around and having to, to make do.
Time and again, people are turning to their communities. These are volunteers brought together by unprecedented need in extraordinary times.
Let's open the door. Thank you.
Their first call is to a 92-year-old man who hasn't been out since last October. Richard needs the lights on all day because his flat is so dark. His oxygen machine runs constantly. It's all racking up energy costs.
Hello, my friend. How you keeping?
The volunteers have brought him food and company.
We're isolated now from the rest of the community within our own building.
Oh, brilliant.
So Oh, thank you.
Next, there's a book to deliver to Doreen.
Oh, that's a keepsake.
At 74, she can't afford to put the central heating on. Instead, there's one bar of the electric fire on in one room.
The other night, I went to bed and I felt lovely. And then about 2 o'clock in the morning, I thought, I've left the heating on, so I've had to come all the way down on the stair lift to turn the heating off. And then you wake up freezing cold.
Do you find it all quite depressing?
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's getting even worse now.
What's worrying is the long-term impact on the elderly.
A lot of people, because of the poverty that they face, will lead to premature earlier death because of them not being able to feed themselves or clothe themselves or keep themselves warm adequately.
Living in fear of poverty for an increasing number of pensioners, what should be their golden years, have lost their sparkle. Lisa Holland, Sky News, East London.
Herefordshire, a beautiful part of the country, but like everywhere, life can be hard. The food bank charity the Trussell Trust says in every part of the UK, increasing numbers of people are running out of food and money to buy it.
Last year, its food banks gave out nearly 3 million emergency food parcels, 37% more than the year before, and over 1 million of those went to children. 760,000 people used a food bank for the first time.
The old priory in Leominster is home to the food bank and the food share scheme.
There's an MP who said there's no one in the NHS using food banks, and I want to say, well, there is.
Emma Dudley is a trainee midwife. She was one of those forced to turn to a food bank for the first time last year. Emma and her partner both work, but it only needed a couple of things to go wrong for the family to run out of money for food.
We had our car breakdown, and then in November I fell ill and I was off work for a month, so we ended up using the food bank in September and in the November, December, just because we just had no finances to get anything.
What was it like to find yourself in that position for the first time?
It was quite upsetting. Just not having the money to feed the family, whereas we'd had it before. I knew quite a few people who were struggling like myself. I had a friend who suggested it and said, look, why are you struggling so much when you can just go and get this, and they give you vouchers towards the fruit shop and things. And I was getting bits from here, but it just felt a lot better to have the cupboards full, and I had enough to do more meals and things, so it was just a lot. And they gave a butcher voucher, which we'd never be able to afford, even when we were both working full time.
The food bank here will be opening in the evening soon, so people can come after they finish work.
We're finding that there's more people who are in employment, and certainly here at Food Share, there's people who are saying, well, we just can't manage. We've got 2 people in work, two adults in work, and we still can't manage.
The government says it recognises the pressures, that it's increased the minimum wage and benefits, as well as directly helping the most vulnerable. But the Trussell Trust says basic benefits fall £140 a month short of the cost of food, energy and other essentials.
What we would like is to enshrine in law an essentials guarantee. So a guarantee that universal credit will always cover the essentials of life. And we'd like to see an independent body who can look at what that is at any one time, and therefore what benefits should be set at.
The volunteers in Leominster say it feels like food banks and food shares are now part of the fabric of life. They're increasing the opening hours, but with each week that passes, the queues get longer.